going to show great heart. DACA is a very, very difficult subject for me, I will tell you. To me, it's one of the most difficult subjects I have because you have these incredible kids.
So you remember that? That was President Trump just after he took office, talking about the Obama-era DACA program, which basically allowed children who were brought illegally to this country by their parents to stay in the United States. It's a very, very hot issue. So today we learned that the president is very close to his decision and that it looks like, from the indications that we have, that he's going to end that program as early as tomorrow. The White House pushed back on that a bit today. Here's this.
My position today is that the administration is still reviewing the policy.
In terms of DACA, echoing again on what Tom said earlier, final decision on that front has not been made, and when it is, we will certainly inform everybody in this room.
Here now, former Congressman Jason Chaffetz, who served as House Oversight Committee chairman, and he's now a Fox News contributor. Juan Williams, co-host of The Five and Fox News political analyst. So not today, today's Thursday, but maybe Friday around 4 or 5 o'clock, do you think? Jason?
Friday before Labor Day.
Yeah.
Look, the program expires, and one of the options for the president is to simply let it expire. But I think he'll probably do a little bit more than that. He may allow, grandfather in some of these kids so there's not this immediacy to just pulling it all back. But the president does have some options. But what he did originally should have never happened. The president just can't unilaterally go and change the law.
You mean President Obama?
Yeah, what President Obama did originally, he had the House and Senate and the presidency, the Democrats, and they didn't do anything on this issue. It wasn't until 2012, months before an election, that suddenly he did this. But I think it was wrong at the beginning, and I want to have compassion and deal with the 2-year-old who was brought here, no fault of their own by their parents, but you have to live by the law.
Juan.
Well, I think President Trump is playing poker here. He's betting that by saying that he's going to end this program, Martha, that there are people in Congress who will say, as we enter this September of budget negotiations and deficit ceiling negotiations, people will say, well, you know what, hold off, we'll make a trade with you. You'll get your wall, but we get DACA back. And I think he is placing a bad bet here because not only do the opinion polls show that most Americans favor DACA and want the program to continue, but you also have a situation where I think the Democrats are willing to push the president on this and say, we're not negotiating with the fate of these children who've come here, some of whom have served in the U.S. military.
Well, as Jason's saying, there could be exemptions. It's possible that he's going to sort of, find some middle ground where he's showing compassion for some elements of this group. And clearly, I would imagine they would be at the top of the list. But that's an interesting theory. So if that's true, if what Juan is saying is true, that the president's laying down a marker that he thinks will be a bargaining chip for him in September, where we know there's going to be a lot of bargaining that's going to have to happen, whether it be on the debt ceiling or the budget or anything else. In that case, he would put down the marker pretty strongly, I would imagine. Well,
yeah. But again, this is where I think Donald Trump is actually in a very good position to be able to deal with this, because for years I sat in the House and the Democrats said it would be comprehensive, which was also a word for, amnesty, which those of us that want to actually see a lot of reforms would never, ever do amnesty. But it put him in a position now where he can actually get the Democrats, the Luis Gutierrez's of the world, to the table and say, look, there are lots of things that we probably actually do agree with, but we are going to lock down the border. We're not going to do amnesty, and we're not just going to give you a blanket pass to allow all these people to just stay here illegally.
But one problem in the Congress may be that, guess what? The Democrats and the Republicans may preempt the president because they could do like what's called a discharge petition. They can just simply say, let's have a vote on this, and this would meet your needs, which is to say Congress should act on this. It shouldn't be an independent action by the executive. And if Congress says, oh, we're going to do this right now, again, that would preempt his bet that they would back down.
He's been, in a lot of different places on this issue. He was very hardcore during the campaign. And then you saw him there saying, this is a struggle for me. Yeah. I do think these kids who were brought here, not under their own volition, should be exempt. But now it looks like, is it Jeff Sessions? Is it John Kelly? What do you think the forces are on him that are pushing him back this way now?
Well, you have people like Mike Kaufman, who today, the congressman out of Colorado, who has said he's going to enter into this discharge petition, which means if you get 218 people to sign it, the speaker has to bring that up immediately for a vote. So you got that portion of the Republican Party that actually wants to see this continued. You have all the Democrats, essentially, that want to see it continued. But on the other side, you have people like Congressman Steve King and others who helped get the president into place that don't want to see this. They want to see it ended. So it is a contentious issue. This is not an easy one by any means.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Good to see you both. Have a great Labor Day weekend.
You too.
All right. So coming up, did former FBI Director James Comey clear Hillary Clinton in the email investigation before interviewing key witnesses, including the most key witness of all, the candidate herself? That story is straight ahead. And are Antifa the mirror image of neo-Nazis? Mark Thiessen thinks so. He is here next, along with Professor Jonathan Turley. The story goes on after this.